Hello, and welcome to Reddit Revenge, where every story finds its fair ending. Today's story starts now. Some revenge stories are subtle. Mine was cinematic. Back in the early 2010s, universities were just starting to dabble with YouTube. The school that hired me wanted branding through video, but didn't really understand what that meant. I was their shiny new content creator, a one-man army expected to do everything. Script, cast, shoot, score, and edit. They paid me $2,200 a month and gave me equipment so outdated it wheezed at 720p. Still, I believed in the opportunity. On my second day, my manager handed me my KPI, 85 videos in 52 weeks. Each video 3 to 10 minutes long. For a full production team, ambitious. For one guy, impossible. I pushed back, and she reassured me, focus on quality, not quantity. If the work is good, the numbers won't matter. That sounded fair. I leaned in, pulling 60-hour weeks, skipping weekends, pushing my gear to its limit. The first month was rough, but my videos were sharp, original, and racking up more views than anything the university had ever posted. For a brief moment, I thought I'd landed a career break. Then my manager discovered I smoked, and everything changed overnight. It wasn't just disapproval. It was war. A colleague had warned me. This manager hated smokers, spent years campaigning to push them out. Now I was her target. Suddenly, nothing I did was enough. She nitpicked the faint smell of smoke on my clothes after a break. She harped on my arriving 10 minutes late, even though I was working 4 extra hours into the night. She complained I was unreachable during lunch, ignoring the fact that I was still cutting footage at 11 p.m. None of it mattered. I kept grinding because the videos spoke for themselves. But after 5 months of killing myself for this job, I was summoned to the director's office. The pit in my stomach told me everything. My manager sat there, gleeful in her fake concern. The director said she was disappointed in my numbers. 30 videos in half a year, not even halfway to 85. I explained, one man, 6 days a week, highest views ever, impossible expectations. I even reminded them of my manager's quality over quantity promise. My words bounced off stone. The director cut me off. Targets are targets. Then my manager smirked and said, we'll get a professional production house to do what he couldn't. And that's when the light bulb lit. She didn't know what I knew. As the content guy, one of my side duties was keeping a database of production houses, contacts for when the university needed bigger crews. My manager? She had no network in that industry. If she wanted outside help, she'd have to use my list. And suddenly, revenge stopped being a fantasy and became a strategy. That night, I sat down at my computer and sabotaged the database. Every entry, wrong numbers, broken emails, scrambled details, except for one. That one was a friend of mine, a junior director hungry for his big break. I called him, laid it all out. They're about to fire me. They'll come to you, because your name is the only one left intact. You'll pitch, you'll win, and you'll kick back 15% finder's fee to me. I'll coach you so your pitch is bulletproof. He didn't hesitate. Within days, his company got the call. He rehearsed my playbook like gospel, and when he walked into that boardroom, he blew them away. To the director and my boss, it looked like a miracle. This small house somehow knew their style, their branding, their needs. They signed on the spot. My fingerprints were nowhere to be found. Here's the thing about production houses, even back then, they weren't cheap. While I'd been pulling $2,200 a month for 60-hour weeks, his company billed double to triple that per video. But they had full crews. Producer, director, cinematographer, gaffer, sound, editors, assistants. With manpower like that, they churned out polished videos every 2 or 3 days. The university watched in awe as the backlog evaporated. 50 videos delivered in just 4 months. Targets exceeded. My old boss beamed. The director congratulated her for fixing the mess I'd supposedly left behind. Meanwhile, I was on the sidelines, sipping coffee and cashing my cut. 15% of 6-figure contracts adds up fast. 15 months of my old salary dropped into my lap in less than half a year. Enough for a holiday in Bali, tuition at a respected film school overseas, and the sweet satisfaction of watching their arrogance bankroll my future. I thought the story ended there. I'd taken my pound of flesh and moved on. But revenge, like film, sometimes has a twist ending you don't script. And this one was delicious. I was lying on a beach in Bali when my phone buzzed. It was a former colleague, the one who'd warned me about my manager's crusade against smokers. She didn't waste words. "She's been fired." First I laughed. Surely not. But she explained. The chancellor himself had torn into the director after an audit. The content project had a budget roughly equal to 18 months of my salary. That was it. A tidy, manageable figure. But with the production house, they had blown past it tenfold. Over a year's budget burned in just 4 months. My manager had panicked. Obsessed with proving she could meet the impossible target, she threw money like gasoline, authorizing massive invoices without getting director approval. When the chancellor saw the numbers, the hammer came down. My manager was terminated immediately, scapegoated as reckless. The director wasn't fired, but she was shredded publicly, her reputation torched. The project, once her pride, was now an embarrassment. And I was watching sunsets, my bank account fat, my future wide open. Karma hadn't just arrived, it had booked a return ticket and over-delivered. The irony was perfect. They'd fired me for falling behind, but it was my videos, the 30 I made alone, that still held the top spots on their channel. My work had outperformed the expensive replacements. Meanwhile, the project that was supposed to prove their innovation became a cautionary tale. Within the university, whispers spread. How a petty vendetta against one employee cost the school hundreds of thousands. How arrogance and ignorance sank the campaign. My ex-manager went from smug to unemployed in months. My ex-director kept her title, but the chancellor's dressing down meant she'd never climb higher. And my friend? Promoted to full director at his production house, thanks to the windfall. He called me months later, voice full of gratitude. "That deal changed my career. You'll always have a spot with us if you want it." Revenge doesn't usually lift two people up at once. But this time it had. And that made the victory sweeter. Looking back, it wasn't just about being fired. It was about being treated like trash for things that had nothing to do with my work. About being punished for smoking, for breaks, for impossible targets. About a boss who smiled while lying to my face. The firing hurt, yes, but the contempt stung worse. So when I flipped their arrogance into my payday, it wasn't only money I gained. It was closure. Every check from that finder's fee felt like an invoice paid on behalf of their disrespect. Every dollar sent me further from their office and closer to the life I wanted. When I enrolled in film school abroad, I walked into that classroom with a confidence I wouldn't have had otherwise. They tried to kill my career. Instead, they funded it. The funniest part? They never realized. To them, the production house had just understood their needs. My fingerprints were erased, my sabotage invisible. I wasn't interested in gloating. The best revenge doesn't announce itself. It lets the losers write their own downfall. My ex-boss probably still thinks firing me was her power move. My ex-director probably still tells herself outsourcing was inevitable. Neither of them knows the truth. That their downfall was scripted by the same guy they tried to bury. And honestly, that's the sweetest part. They'll never get to rewrite the ending. I already did. Years later, I sometimes rewatch those old university videos. Mine, scrappy but heartfelt, still rack up views. There's glossy but soulless, gather dust. It's poetic. Effort beats shortcuts. Passion beats arrogance. I tell this story not to brag but to remind myself. When someone underestimates you, don't fight back with anger. Fight back with strategy. Outthink them. Let them dig their own grave while you build your escape ladder. The universe has a way of rewarding patience and punishing pride. My ex-boss thought she was untouchable. My ex-director thought money solved everything. Both were wrong. And me? I'm proof that even the pettiest revenge can become the foundation of something lasting, if you play it smart. In the end, they fired me thinking they'd cut dead weight. Instead, I walked away with a year's salary in my pocket, a friend promoted, and 2 arrogant bosses exposed. They wrote me off as a failure. I turned their failure into my future. That's not just revenge. That's justice with interest. Now I want to hear from you. What would you have done in my place? Would you have walked away quietly or set the trap like I did? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'll be reading. If the story hit you, smash that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you don't miss the next one. And share this video with someone who loves a good revenge story. Thanks for watching. Stay sharp.